Okay, you're on.
All right, late night from Willowdale, but not from Willowdale. A couple kilometers south, Spadina and St. Clair. Um, okay, let's talk about. We haven't done a video in a while, so let's get quick. Big topics. Today's September 11th. Anniversary of 9/11. So the war in Afghanistan continues 16 years later. It's a war without end. Why is that? Uh, Is this like North Korea? There's a diplomatic solution here. I'm not going to get into North Korea tonight. Let's talk about Afghanistan. But the two are linked. There are diplomatic solutions to both crises. Afghanistan's a long war. The Americans lost two and a half, well over 2,000 soldiers. Canada lost 150 soldiers, and hundreds, thousands of Afghans have died. Okay, here's a solution. Trump laid it out a couple of weeks back. Not going to work. He wants victory. There's no total victory in Afghanistan. Are you kidding? Go back to the Great Game when the Brits and the Russians fought it out. There's no victory. Here's the solution. Afghans deserve a bit of peace and quiet and a bit of stability. So here's what you're going to do. You got to bring in all the players. Iran is now very involved in the Afghan situations, as is Russia again. China's involved. Pakistan is involved in a big way, obviously, in a negative way. India is involved. The Saudis are involved because the Saudis love the Taliban, just like the Pakistanis do. So you got to bring all the players together. And the only people who can do that are the Americans. And a lot of these guys don't like each other. The geopolitical rivals. The Chinese hate the Indians. The Pakistanis hate the Indians. You know, like... But India could play a vital role because it is still the major player. In many ways I wish Afghanistan, Pakistan was part of India. It would be a better place. The Brits made so many mistakes in the partition of the subcontinent. Not that Afghanistan was part of the deal, Pakistan was, but you got to bring all the players together and get a regional settlement. And the Taliban has to be involved because they have a lot of support in Afghanistan. And you got to bring them all together, and it won't be a victory; it'll be a compromise, and that's what you got to do. If Trump really wants to make the art of the deal, the big deal, he could do that. I don't think he does, but he could do it. But yeah, compromise is the only solution to Afghanistan. You got to bring all the players and all the countries and stakeholders together. Moving on to yes. The millions, the trillion, the billions that the U.S. has spent in Afghanistan. Let's go on to the hurricanes that have hit the U.S. The United States spends way too much on the military. They want to spend $1 trillion in upgrading the nuclear arsenal. Trillion. Yet their country's not vulnerable to nuclear attack or anything. Their country's vulnerable to flooding and to climate change and to hurricanes. And Harvey was an example of that. South Texas was warned. Houston was warned. Your flood management plans aren't up to speed. You got to spend more money. Stop paving over wetlands. Stop the urban sprawl. You got to spend money to update the situation. They didn't do it, and look what happened. New Orleans was warned for years the levees wouldn't hold a major hurricane. This was before Katrina, and look what happened. And even now, the levees probably aren't great. They don't want to spend the money. They want to spend it on the military, not on basic infrastructure. Florida has come through Irma relatively intact. Yes, lots of cut down power lines and trees down, but Florida has done well because Florida actually has spent money on canals, on wetlands, and the Everglades, of course, the biggest wetland. But I've seen it for myself. I was there in November. Intercoastal waterways. All this is a way to mitigate from big storms. Florida has done it well, and that's why there's the Irma, even though it's Florida was devastated, they weren't as badly impacted as Texas. In Ontario in 1954, Hurricane Hazel devastated the Greater Toronto area. And after that, we created the Toronto Region Conservation Authority. Includes, anyone who lives in the Toronto area knows Albion Hills, Bruce's Mills, all the dams and wetlands. We created things so we don't get flooding during major rain events, and pretty much it has worked. It still floods in Toronto during major rain events. there's still some flooding, but by and large it has worked, because even in the 1950s they spent tax dollars to mitigate against major severe weather. Okay, let's move on to before we run out of time, to the Rohingya. Okay, this is horrible what's happening in northern Burma. This is absolutely horrible. Aung San Suu Kyi, the de facto leader of Burma, is a Canadian citizen, honorary Canadian citizen. She should be stripped of her Canadian citizenship. I'm sorry. She hasn't spoken out against the genocide. It's genocide that's going on against the Muslims, the Rohingya, the Muslims in northern Burma. It's genocide. She hasn't spoken out. She hasn't said anything. I know she's somewhat vulnerable given her situation with the military, but she hasn't said a damn word. And she's tacitly endorsed killing and ethnic cleansing. She's endorsed ethnic cleansing. And she's an honorary Canadian citizen. And if Trudeau really wants to live up to the brand of multiculturalism, multi-ethnicity, multiculturalism, multi-ethnicity, and Canada as being a tolerant place, he should send a message to the world that we won't tolerate ethnic cleansing. Strip Aung San Suu Kyi of her Canadian citizenship. That's what he should do, and that will send a message. And that's the video. We're done.
Okay.